So I need an easier way to do straight lines that's quicker and faster than resetting up each time. And I love using the fence and the router guides, but I found these rails on AliExpress, and I've got a Craftsman plunge router that I bought at a sale, which was a great deal. What I want to do is make a rail that I can go back and forth and do necks and tops to guitars. I've got the rails here. They slide on. I've got some metric screws that fit. What I'm going to do is take the plate off of the router here and mount this to this piece of plexiglass that I got. So I made this wide enough for doing necks on one side, and then if I need to do bodies, I can unscrew this, move it over, and then do bodies back and forth. And what's cool about the height here is that it's exactly about 2 inches, so I'll be able to slide guitar bodies on. I've done some Santana-ish PRS inlays in guitars before, and I really like that look with crushed stone. So I wanted to have this flexible but easy. I've got a piece of plywood with some backer boards that'll keep this straight. And what I'll do is screw down this side and then screw down this side with not as many screws. I'm gonna cut this up like this and reinforce it so there's not as much flex, and then mount this into each rail mount and then get ready and use it. So I'll get this assembled, cut up, and show you guys how it works. So on this main board, I'm going to reinforce the back with 2 boards on each side, give it a little bit extra strength. They're about 6 inches wide, and we'll screw this down on each side. And I screwed down the first rail with 3/4 screws, and then I'm making sure that this is parallel. Each rail is going to be about 12 inches apart, and this board is 36 by 12 by 1/4 inch thick. I'm going to make sure that this is lined up perfectly, and then we're going to alternate the screws going across here and make sure it runs smooth. So pull off the cover, check it a couple times, see how this fits. We're going to cut about an 8-inch wide piece. Take this over to the bandsaw and get it cut up. So once it's cut, we're going to go ahead and remove the back of the original router plate, get it all lined up. And if I should have flipped it here, it's slightly off center. Should have used the other side to get it lined up. And then we're going to drill new screws to mount the plexiglass to the router. That way I've got a strong base to route this against. So we'll sink these so that the screw sits flush. Do that for the 3 screws. And then I've got a Fastener bit to do the center. And at this point, I wished I had turned on my vacuum cleaner. I just got a huge mess here. So we'll learn for the next time to make sure we turn on the vacuum cleaner. So I'm going to mark the center of the mounts. And I'm only going to use the inside mounts because the drill bit is a little bit too big for the outside ones. Make sure this looks about right. Get this mounted in and drill this out. And now I've got the vacuum cleaner going. So there's the screwed in piece and a template just to play around with it, see how it fits. So then I've got a V-bit in here, and I'm going to run a center line down the center here, and I'll know exactly where my router is going to be when I go ahead and set up everything else. So there's my center line, and everything will be mounted off of that center line. Very similar to what I did with my copy carver when I set it up the first time. And then for my templates or whatever I'm going to route, I'll just use some sort of end block or plastic to mount this down to the board. And that's why I'm using the plywood backing, and I can just mount everything directly and do whatever I need to customize it. And then lastly, we need some blocks here on the end to make sure the router doesn't run off the rails, and I'll screw these in on each side. So we use this router first on the Kevin Bond neck build. That's why I built this now. Wanted an easy way to route my carbon fiber rods and truss rod. So we're all set here, got the end blocks. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next vid.